Hello, I am Lance Keeling, and today I will be discussing my topic about the golden ratio in the field of photography, arts, and architecture. But first, what is the golden ratio? The golden ratio is a mathematical concept first discovered by a Greek mathematician named Euclid. Euclid first called the golden ratio as the division and extreme and mean ratio. It is also known as the golden mean, the golden section, and the divine proportion. The golden ratio, according to Britannica, is the ratio of a line segment cut into two pieces of different lengths such that the ratio of the whole segment to that of the longer segment is equal to the ratio of the longer segment to the shorter segment. The Greeks recognized this dividing or sectioning property, which was ultimately shortened to simply the section. In terms of algebra, letting the length of the shorter segment be 1 unit and the length of the longer segment be x units gives rise to the equation quantity x plus 1 all over x is equal to x all over 1. This may be rearranged into a quadratic equation shown in the screen, for which the positive solution to this is the famous irrational number of 1 plus square root of 5 all over 2. This is often denoted by the Greek letter phi, which is approximately equal to 1.618. The numbers used in the golden mean is also closely related to the Fibonacci sequence that has the following integer sequence. Because, geometrically speaking, if you were to draw squares that followed the dimensions of the number in the Fibonacci sequence, you would be able to show the golden rectangle and the golden spiral. Now, what is the golden spiral and how is it connected to the golden ratio? Simple. In geometry, the golden spiral is a logarithmic spiral whose growth factor is the golden ratio. An example of these are shapes that are infinitely repeated when magnified, such as spiral galaxies in outer space. Now that we know what the golden ratio is, we ask ourselves, where can we actually see and use this? The answer is that we can apply it as simple as photography, art, and architecture. First, in photography, I will give you 2 tips on how to begin the use of the golden spiral. Tip number 1. Place your subject at the intersection of these lines shown in the screen. The golden ratio can also be diagonal into infinity. By placing your subject on an intersection of lines, this will help create a more pleasing image for the viewer. Tip number 2. Place strong lines on the golden ratio lines. This will be able to attract more interest in the image as seen in this photo. Next is for arts. We can integrate the golden ratio by using the eyes of the golden rectangle. To utilize a golden rectangle, one must draw a straight line from the bottom corner to its opposite top corner on either side. They will cross in the exact center of the format. Then from the center to each corner, locate the midway point to each opposing corner. The green dots in the diagram above are called the eyes of the rectangle. It is used to emphasize as the scene is captured. The only limitation on how we use these eyes are only by our own imagination. A great example of this is the Mona Lisa. The painting includes a lot of golden rectangles. If we draw squares inside this golden rectangle, we will discover the edges of these new squares come to all the important focal points of the woman: her chin, her eye, her nose, and the corner of her mouth. The last is for architecture. Similar to arts, we also use the dimensions of the golden rectangle. 2 great examples of this are the Great Pyramid and the Parthenon. The Great Pyramid has the essence of the proportions to be sacred ratio. And for Parthenon, the Greeks have already been utilizing the proportions of the 5 Platonic, so the sides of the rectangle here are to be known in the golden proportion. So, Now that we know that the golden ratio could be applicable to these fields, we ask the following question. Why is it actually important to today's society? Why is the golden ratio important? Simple. It brings beauty, it brings balance, and it allows for varying shapes. But what I mean is that people, particularly architects, could utilize a combination of the golden rectangle, the golden triangle, and the logarithmic spiral all at the same time, which will accommodate them to various shapes and sizes. Well, I know the building in Benilde in Taft Avenue has a very weird shape at first when I saw it, but I think that's a great example. To wrap my presentation, the golden ratio occurs in a lot of mathematical context and is said to appear in various iconic pieces of art, so as this shows the perfect illustration of beauty. And that's it for my presentation, guys. Thank you for listening.